It's July 2012 and I'm going to give you a little bit of a garden tour. The trees in front of you are chestnuts. The pasture is primarily alfalfa with some fescue, orchard grass, plantains, dandelions, and a wide variety of other plant species. Now along the driveway, the larger trees outline the driveway. Out in the nut orchard we have 15 walnut trees. We have Amish, local Amish variety. We have a black walnut, and we also have English walnuts. We also have 9 pecan trees, and then we also have 4 chestnut trees. Along the edges of the property, there's some wild area. So above the driveway here, we have some vigorous rootstock pear trees. So eventually these will get to be fairly large, full-size pears. These are the pecan trees that are on the opposite side of the property, snake their way down the hill. These are the full-size apple and plum trees that I have just outside the Zone 1 garden. First 3 there are apples, and these beyond this one, these are all plums here. This is the back side of the Zone 1 garden. Over here next to the patio, we have an area that's kind of contained between my patio and walkway, and this is where I keep the mint and the lemon balm. One of the things I really like about mint and lemon balm is they're fantastic for attracting the bees and wasps and all the beneficial insects. As you can see, they're pretty much all over the flowers on the mint. So if you really want to make your bees happy, plant some mint and lemon balm. That'll definitely keep them in the garden. Just inside the Zone 1 garden, we have some dwarf stock apple trees, and then also some cherry trees. Now along the edges of the garden we have blackberries and raspberries. Right in here is the herb garden, which is filled with sage, oregano, chives, thyme, sweet marjoram, cinnamon basil, sweet basil, cilantro, St. John's wort, and I'm sure there's probably something else. There's also some onion in there. There's probably some other stuff that I'm missing. Now in the foreground there's some Jerusalem artichokes, some sunchokes, which gives me a nice windbreak and mulch plant for this garden bed over here. And if you see beyond that, the real tall corn, that's Three Sisters garden that I planted in the middle of May. And as you can see, the Three Sisters garden has gotten to be pretty mature. So we've got, obviously we've got the corn in there, but on the ground cover we've got some squash, we've got some cucumbers, we've got some watermelon, and we also have some zucchini. So, and then of course we've got the beans in there too. Three Sisters garden grows really nicely. The only bad thing about it is that sometimes it's hard to find everything. Here's our border of raspberries. There's some of my broccoli and cauliflower plants are still standing, although everything's been harvested at this point. I've let the cabbage worms have it now. Now the stuff that's shorter over here is stuff that was planted later. I don't want to get everything all at once. Just beyond the Three Sisters garden we have the potato patch. And like I said, I have a long grocery store rows of potatoes, which not great for dealing with potato larvae. So this will be, next year I'll break up the potato patch in 3 or 4 different sections around the garden, try to mask some of the scent. Just along the raspberries, I've got a bunch of lettuce, and I put it tight up against the raspberries because we're getting some shade from the raspberries. So when it gets real hot, that lettuce wants to bolt really fast. Here's the waterfall, which if you're out here working, the sound of the running water is really soothing. It definitely makes for a more pleasurable gardening experience. And any water feature is also going to add some humidity and a little bit of habitat for some of your beneficial insects, and also your frogs and toads and things like that, which are also beneficial. And of course the birds also love to come down here and take a little bit of a bath. So here along this ridge here, we've got the grapevine. Up top is where I'm keeping the container garden. This is the back side of the shed compost pile, which I don't use very often. There's the shed and the greenhouse. Right now the greenhouse has a shade tarp on it. I mean, there's nothing in it, and the reason I keep the shade tarp on it is just because everything gets so hot in there, it'll melt my pots. On the other side of the garden, we've got, this is my asparagus patch, which is nice and long and overgrown now. It's past asparagus season, so you want to let those get tall. Cut those back in the late fall. My strawberry patch is done for the season. They're June bearing, so we got tons of strawberries this year, and now they took a beating through the heat, but I think they'll be okay. You can see some watermelon peeking out, coming through the garden over here. There's a pretty nice watermelon down there. There's another nice one right there. I mean, there's a whole bunch in there. I just gotta go find them. There's actually another Three Sisters garden over here. It's a different type of corn. It's a blue jade corn, which is a shorter corn. You can see how short it is. There's also some watermelon, beans, cucumbers, sweet and pickling. And it's all kind of mixed together there. Like I said, the only thing everything grows great. The only bad thing is it can be difficult to find things. There's also some basil here growing at the base of my, some sweet basil growing at the base of my asparagus. We have some beans here coming up. This area is right in between is fallow. I'm going to be planting some stuff in the fall garden in that spot here probably in about 4 weeks. This is the lettuce that we had been harvesting through much of the spring. It's now bolting, so I'm letting it go to seed, and there's no point in removing the plants. You want to let the beneficials have the flowers and let it go to seed, because we'll get some of that seed will germinate, and we'll be eating that lettuce in the fall when it's cooler. We've also got some peppers and eggplant over this way. I did have some arugula and spinach over here, but that stuff is all come and gone. You'll notice I do have this spattering of some weeds, lamb's quarters, dandelion, purslane, a lot of weeds that are actually edible and good to have in the garden. I just let them grow. I'm not a huge proponent of removal of every single thing every single weed in the garden. I had some peas on the trellis here. Pea season's pretty much over. It got so hot, and we got some decent peas, but they burn up after we got into the heat of the summer. They're a cool season plant, but I'll redo peas this fall with my fall garden. Here we've got the soybeans. We've been harvesting soybeans, so there's some gaps in there. Like, I'll cut the whole plant down, and then we'll use and we'll pull the pods off and cook them, or shuck them and cook them, and then I'll bring the plants back here and throw them out in the plot for added mulch and fertility. We've got another couple of stages of beans. These are a little younger. Ones next to them are a little older. So that way we have a kind of a constant supply of beans. I had a bunch of radishes here. They're all well and done. I let some of them go to seed in the hopes that we'll get some that come back for the fall. We've got a few different types of tomatoes in here. Lemon drop, which is a really nice yellow tomato, which you can probably see right in here. Anyway, there's some lemon drop, there's some Amish paste, and then there's a cherry tomato in here too. So we've had pretty good results with the tomatoes. There's also some parsnips and carrots. A whole bunch of carrots and parsnips. These are parsnips here. There's some onions down the row over here. Now we've harvested a lot of the onions, but there's still a few left, and then we've got some on the herb garden side. There's some nectarines, pear trees over here, just up slope of the garden. Eventually what I would like to do is connect the chicken area to the orchard over here, and then connect another chicken area to the orchard over there, and make some more areas for chicken fodder. Plant some stuff that they really like, so they can self-harvest. And then over here we've got the chicken area, and I gave them some treats this morning, so they're still pecking around at that stuff. So they're doing pretty good. And so this is their pasture area. This is their chicken coop. They've got a couple of nectarine trees in with them, and eventually it's a new pear tree, or a new plum tree. Eventually that one will get to be large. It's a large rootstock. And then I made a shade tarp area for them, just because the trees aren't big enough to provide much shade. So it's been a brutal summer. So they've spent, in the heat of the day, they usually spend a lot of time hanging out in there. Anyway, that's my garden as of mid-July 2012. I'll do another video next year, because I've got a lot of big plans for changes and improvements in the garden. So thank you for watching.